How we all doing? So this here is a little enclosure that I've not long built. Did have a little debate as to what was going to go in it, but as you'll see now, I eventually decided to go with the Grammostola rosea that I've had in my collection for, this is a tiny sling, so I think about 4 years now that I've had her. And you see she's not a massive, or say she, it's actually unsexed, but we'll say we'll use she for now. But yeah, she is in a great size, and they are renowned for being massively slow growers anyway. So like I say, this one is 4 years old, and she's still probably only just at the 2-inch mark. So yeah, the enclosure was a gift I had for Christmas off my other half. It's a 20 by 20 by 15 Komodo, and it's basically just spider life, some twigs and a bit of moss. And I've recently been doing a project with the desert stone mix, so I just sprinkled a bit of sand out of that over the top, because I thought this spider was labelled, when it came to me, it was labelled as the red colour form. So I thought a little bit of red, you know, will add to the enclosure. So yeah, these are commonly called the Chile rose or the rose hair tarantula. They used to be 10 a penny years ago when I first got into the hobby. People couldn't give these away, and now things have totally changed, and they're actually quite difficult to get hold of nowadays. Or not difficult, they're just not as often seen, I suppose. Yeah, I owned an adult female one of these probably about 15-20 years ago, and I had her for 5 years before she passed away, and she was an adult female when she came to mine, so I don't even know how old she might have been. And this one wasn't too keen on staying in its new enclosure though. And you'll see in a minute myself like an idiot, this little bit of plastic was sat across the tank, and there you go, it just slipped off the edge and knocked the spider down. So I did get what I was intending, but not quite the way that I was intending on going about it, if I'm honest. There we have it, the Grammostola rosea, the Chile rose hair, or the Chile rose tarantula, and I will give you an update further down the line with it. Now this enclosure, this one was set up for my Tapinauchenius polybotes, which is the St. Vincent's tree spider, and you see she's in this sort of catch cup here. Now these are probably my favourite of all the tappies. Again, you don't see a great deal of them, but hopefully as this video goes on I'll manage to get some footage and just show you how really attractive they are as a species, and probably quite underrated in my opinion. Like, So you see them rear legs covered in the red setae. Funny, this tarantula, it's like a mix between your usual sort of tappy like the violaceus or one of those versicolor and the Salmon victoria, the Dartmoor tarantula. And you see you get a hint of the purples from the tappy there, and then you can see here these really hairy thick back legs. The colour changes as it goes from the rear to the front of the spider. It goes from being red to being darker. Now this is the cockback that was in rolled enclosure that she lived in. I just put that in there just to try and help her settle a bit easier. And there again you can see some of those purples. If I'm honest, there's no real angle that does it any proper justice. You can see again just how hairy those legs are now. These, as far as I'm aware, they don't have articating hairs. And there you can see the difference from back to front, where I draw that comparison with the Victoria. Like I say, really nice spider, behaves just like all your other tappies, your Salmon pairs, how you'd expect it to. Hides away most of the time. You see it when it's dark, you turn the light on, it disappears. Eats really well, and I do have a male that's just matured ready for her. Now this one is a setup that I made for my Lasiodora parahybana, the salmon pink birdeater. Now I've been using this one in work and taking it out and displaying. And the enclosure of this, what I've done is I've just rejigged the tub that she was in, but she'd basically just flattened everything out and it looked really dull and a bit of a mess, so we thought we'd give her something a bit brighter. If I'm honest, it looks better when I'm trying to show the spider off to kids. Obviously if she's in a nicer enclosure than something that looks really barren and a bit shit like. And you see she is a bit of a hair flicker. She has been in a couple of videos in the past, and if I'm not mistaken, she does have a bit of a flick out in each of those. You see, she was a bit reluctant to come out at first. She just turned around to face the stick, so I think she was probably a little bit hungry. Maybe I should have fed her and then moved her, but you see, once we come across the top of her and just draw back, she comes out absolutely fine. And here we are, we'll get our first real view of her. You see again, these are another massively underrated species. I think they're just boring and brown, but you know, they might be boring and brown, but they're also massive. Although this one is only about 6.5, 7 inches, so she's got a fair bit of growing to do yet. She was bought as a juvenile female, and you can see there, you know, those pink hairs on her abdomen. I might be able to make out the bald patch she's just created. But yeah, she's quite a gentle tarantula, if I'm honest, or she does jolt a little bit here. But yeah, that's me 3 housings for this week. I hope you've enjoyed them, and I'll see you soon.